Travel all over the countryside, ask the Leylands, ask the Leylands. Travel all over the countryside, ask the Leyland brothers. Whatever it is that you want to see, ask the Leylands, ask the Leylands. No matter whatever that happens to be, ask the Leyland brothers. Come on, me in and join in the fun, travel all over Australia.
Our first story in Ask the Leyland Brothers today comes from Papua New Guinea, here in Mt Hagan, where we have a look at the sericulture industry up there. This is the cultivation of silkworms. Then we go to Western Australia, to the township of Manjimup, to have a look at a man who works with blackboy trees.
And then in Queensland, at Southport, we take a look at Sea World, an interesting marine land presentation.
We're at Minge in the western highlands of Papua New Guinea. We're going to have a look at a new industry for the area here. It's called sericulture, and what it is the culture of silkworms to manufacture silk. We're at the property of Perigaway. Perigaway is only one of about 500 landowners in the Highlands district who are turning their hand to silkworms for a cash income. On these racks here there's over 100,000 silkworms, and Perry has been feeding them mulberry leaves, which is growing over in the farm here, and they have to be fed about 4 times a day to keep them on these trays so they don't actually wander off down onto the floor. How long have they been here now, Perry?
7 days.
7 days?
Yes.
It is a fairly once the silkworms have turned into cocoons, the farmer sells the finished cocoons to the Kagamuga Sericulture Centre, which is near Mt Hagan. And this is where the original worms came from, because they breed the worms here, send them out to the farmers in the field, who grow the silkworms to the size and let them turn into cocoons. Then they bring them back and sell them to the centre here, where the silk is taken from the cocoons and sold overseas. Overseas sales are small at the moment, as the industry is just getting off the ground, and a lot of experimenting is still going on here. Sapper is in charge of breeding and shows us the young silkworms that are growing in air-conditioned rooms as an experiment. The eggs are kept in this air-conditioned area and checked regularly. They come on paper sheets from Japan at the moment, as the breeding of eggs here is still in the experimental stages. The farmers are supplied with these racks, so the silkworm will make their cocoons in the spaces. This makes it easier to collect the cocoons. All the cocoons are sorted and the best ones are selected for breeding purposes. The cocoons not used for breeding are put under a heater to kill the pupa inside. The silk is unravelled from the cocoon in one single thread, 1,300 metres long from each cocoon. Five to 600 cocoons are selected for breeding, and they have their tops cut open to stop the emerging moth chewing its way out and ruining the silk. The cocoons that have been cut open cannot be unravelled, so these are spun in the centre by employees learning the trade. The spun silk is not suitable for sale to overseas silk markets and is woven here at the centre. Once in full operation, the silk will be sold to places like Japan, India and European countries, earning valuable export money for Papua New Guinea. A new type of clothing is woven from the spun silk, and the humble silkworm is providing a new way for the highland village people to earn an income. We're just south of Perth, not far from the township of Manjimup. We've come here to answer a request from Domenico De Petro of St Mary's School in East Malvern, Victoria. Domenico would like to know something about the blackboy tree and if the blackboy tree is used for anything. Well, Domenico, this is a blackboy tree here, and it's a form of grass tree. They're found all over Australia, and different varieties of the grass tree grow in different parts of the country. Here at Manjimup, we found a man who actually uses the blackboy tree. He doesn't use it like this, he waits till it dies, then uses the base of the tree. John Lucas is an orderly at the Manjimup Hospital, and during the winter months he spends a lot of his weekends in the bush looking for suitable blackboy stumps for his hobby of wood turning. The blackboy is a member of the lily family and only found in Australia. 5 different species of blackboy are found in Western Australia, but only one, Xanthorea arborea, is suitable for wood turning. It has a hard wood centre that is revealed when the plant dies and the soft outer leaves drop or are burnt off in bushfires. This species is only found in the southwest of Western Australia. Only dead stumps can be used for wood turning, and John needs a special permit to collect them. Most winter nights, John can be found working in his garage at his hobby of turning black boys. A standard wood turning lathe is used to fashion the burnt stumps into beautiful pots and lamp bases. The dust from the black boy is particularly irritating to the nostrils, so John has soaked the wood in water before turning commenced.
Right, what I'm doing here is I'm going to make a pot, and I'm just stopping it, check this, make sure there's no flaws, and I'll just proceed on and make the lid and cut it off, and then hollow the inside out.
The black boy stumps are good to turn as they have no grain pattern like most timber. The unusual pattern in the finished article is the result of the grass-like leaves that form the stump during its growth. The pattern is accentuated by a special lacquer that is rubbed into the wood. The most delicate part of the operation is to hollow out the inside of the pot without cracking the sides. John works to no pattern. He lets each piece of timber determine its own final shape as he works. No two articles are alike. To complete the job, a final polish brings out the unusual and delicate patterns. A variety of shapes and colours come out of the burnt stumps that looked so similar to start with. The black boy is very slow growing, at the average of 2 millimetres per year. This means that the wood in these articles is anywhere from 300 to 1,000 years old. Here a prehistoric tree is being used in an ancient craft.
That's the top of the black boy that was, and that's just sort of coming down to the base. And it just goes a little bit lighter. You get others that might be blacker at the bottom and yellow at the top. They vary so much. That's what's enjoyable about working with them. They don't become boring because they're so many different shades.
That one looks like you've dipped it in a stone, doesn't it?
Yeah, I used a wire brush on that. Yeah.
No, but I mean the different colour looks like.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that's very natural, I can assure you.
How do you find the people like it?
I could sort of give up work permanently and do it, but it's a hobby, you know. And that's,
just a hobby.
Yeah, it's just a hobby, and it's quite enjoyable.
We've come to Southport in Queensland to answer a request which we received from Lou Stevens of Merriweather in New South Wales. Now Lou writes to say that he'd like to see the Sea World complex on our program, but in particular the water skiing demonstrations, because he's very fond of water skiing.
SeaWorld is a marine land park which has been built into the biggest of its kind in Australia, on what was once sand dunes and tidal mangroves. It occupies 20 hectares of land known as the Spit at Southport, and over half of the area is now dredged into lakes and connecting channels. To get about the complex, visitors can take a ride on a miniature railway, which regularly makes trips around the perimeter. The train is a 3/4 replica of one of Queensland's first trains and has a total of 3 kilometres of track to run on. The most dominant feature of SeaWorld is the waterway, and demonstrations of water skiing are held at regular times throughout the day. On the western side of the property is a central wharf, where it's an easy walk to most of the attractions. Nearby lays a beam lighthouse, houses a shell collection. And a paddle wheel ferry takes passengers on sightseeing tours. Here too is a replica of Captain James Cook's ship Endeavour, which now houses a museum of Captain Cook history. One of the most popular attractions is the Sea Lion Show. Here, 2 Californian sea lions and 1 Australian fur seal turn on a well-rehearsed act for the audience. Balancing on one flipper with a ball on its nose is a particularly difficult trick, requiring around 4 months of training. The entire half-hour show is presented as a kind of pantomime, and the training crew told me it takes around 3 months of practice to get the act together, even when they start with trained sea lions. It's the policy here to change the show periodically so that visitors can come back for a second visit without repetition. So a training program for a new show with another group of seals is going on all the time in readiness to replace the current show. Most of the antics performed by the sea lions are not at all natural things for them to do.
Come on. Come on, you two, come on.
The dolphins, with their impressive high jumps, are always a hit. Feeding time for the animals is one of the most interesting times of all, but nothing is quite so spectacular as the huge elephant seal. The fish just slide away, and in a few minutes the entire bucket of fish will be consumed. Providing feed for the many creatures at SeaWorld is a big operation, and the complex has its own trawler which operates off the coast to keep up the supply of fish. The water ski demonstrations here are considered amongst the best to be seen anywhere, and in fact it was water skiing which started the whole venture off. Since 1957, skiing demonstrations were held at the Surfers Paradise Gardens and proved very popular. The area became too crowded, so in 1970 the SeaWorld site was acquired.
Good morning and welcome to SeaWorld! Two of our guys, the 6 members of SeaWorld Ski Pass Team. Here's the other. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the true top 5 position. And here they are. We call this one layback.
Barefoot skiing never fails to impress, and here they launch For the finale, the female members of the skiing team turn on their water ballet.
Not the first thing back to the front.
Travel all over the countryside, ask the Leylands, ask the Leylands. Travel all over the countryside, ask the Leyland brothers. Whatever it is that you want to see, ask the Leylands, ask the Leylands. No matter whatever that happens to be, ask the Leyland brothers.